Osiris.
Everybody, happy February. This is The Drop. My name is RJ. I am here to bring you a few things that I'm talking about and thinking about today. The first is that we have a new Marc Brownstein rig tour with Ryan Storm. Our friend Ryan has a few of these video rig tours lined up. If you haven't seen them, you got to check them out. Brand new today is Marc Brownstein. Next week is Neal Francis. And then after that is Joel Cummins of Umphrey. So these are full tours of the artist's gear setup done on stage before a show. It's in-depth and educational, and it's fun to see these artists on stage talking about how they get their unique sound. And Ryan has been a great addition to Osiris with his Goose podcast, Always Almost There, which also has an amazing group of guys that help out, and they really know their stuff. They're in the middle of their Jam of the Year bracket where they selected 64 jams and they're going at it March Madness style. Really fun. If you're a Goose fan and you haven't heard of any of this stuff, check that out. The link is in the show notes. He also does We Move Through Stormy Weather, where he interviews fans about their fish and broader musical experiences. Ryan's a great guy, and we're glad to have him on board with Osiris. So keep up the great work, Ryan. All right, there's a podcast called the Rock Docs Pod about music documentaries, and there's a new episode on the movie about the making of Born to Run, and the guest is me. I got to be a guest on the pod to talk about the documentary called Wings to Wheels about the making of this classic record. It was a lot of fun. So I love Bruce, and the concept of this is cool. The guys who do it know a lot about music documentaries and a lot about music. I really like Wings to Wheels. You get to hear in depth about Bruce's creative process, songwriting, stuff like that. There are some great stories in the movie, including when Steve Van Zandt changed the course of music history, at least in my opinion, by his suggestions to change the horn arrangements on 10th Avenue Freeze Out. If you know that song, you know what I'm talking about. You can check out the documentary. Even though it's more like on the promo side than, a critical film, I think it's really fun to go deep on this. It's more about lyrics and themes and creativity. And Bruce talks about this album and the kind of myth of America. And John Landau also it kind of expands on this. It was when he first came into the picture. And one of the things I love about Born to Run, it's like a concept album, but without it being overt with characters and stuff like that. Of course, it has these themes of, wanting to get out, Thunder Road, Backstreets, Born to Run. It has these kind of feelings of wanting more for your life and wanting more in the American dream and things like that. So really fun. I mean, I love the record, obviously. I could talk about it forever, but I won't because I'm sure you have things to do. From a songwriting perspective, in this documentary, they talk about how for this album, Bruce really stripped down his lyrics. The first two albums, there were tons and tons of lyrics, some of them nonsensical. But he really stripped down like the cliches and got songs from dense to much more sparse and thoughtful. And, Born to Run obviously has stood the test of time. And like I said, the guys who host the Rock Docs pod, they're great. It was really fun talking about music documentaries and how this fits in. So check out that conversation and check out Wings for Wheels if you haven't. Link is in the show notes. All right, so lastly, there is a new festival called Reset, which is aiming to change the way music festivals engage with fans. Relics talked about this in an article. So Reset will hit 12 cities this summer. The headliners are LCD Soundsystem, Boygenius and Steve Lacy. So what's different about this is in each city, fans will have a unique experience, as they describe it, allowing the headlining acts to curate the lineup for their respective day. So, for example, LCD Soundsystem will have a bunch of experimental electronic artists. Boygenius will bring out other indie bands, and Steve Lacy will bring his sort of genre-bending cohorts. It'll take place over 4 weekends in June, with each weekend seeing 3 cities in the same region. So that's sort of complicated, but each headliner plays each city on consecutive days. So the way it works, so it was basically designed as an artist and fan-friendly alternative to the usual concert experience, and it makes fans able to see full sets from every artist on stage with no conflicts, while the artist has a break from the usual summer itinerary of amphitheaters and other festivals. So the way this works, so San Diego, LA, and the Bay Area are the first. So each of the 3 headliners takes turns playing in San Diego, LA, and the Bay Area over the course of a weekend. And then there's New Orleans, Atlanta, and Dallas, New York, Boston, and DC, and then Nashville, Chicago, and Columbus. There's a full grid with all the dates and all the venues and who's headlining where, but it's pretty cool. Kind of designing a fan-friendly music festival sounds maybe not that different, but the fact that if you're in the Bay Area on Friday, June 2nd, you can see LCD Soundsystem at Sanford, and then on Saturday, June 3rd, you can see Steve Lacy at the same venue, and then on Sunday, June 4th, you can see Boygenius. But each of those will have different opening acts, so you will get exposed to a ton of music. And I'm thinking about trying to figure out if I can maybe go to Meriwether to see this on the 16th, 17th, and 18th of June. But the article with more details and links to the tour is in the show notes from Relics. Thanks, Relics. All right, I think that's it for today. I have a bunch more stuff. I actually had a couple stories I wanted to talk about today, but I'm going to push them to tomorrow, try to keep this at 5 minutes or so. So thank you for listening. Share the podcast, give us reviews, let us know what you think, and thanks for tuning in. See you tomorrow.
Osiris.